Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another book recommendation video. I'm going to talk to you about some protective hero recommendations. Sorry if you can hear Kevin, he just came into the room with me. But without further ado, let's just talk about these books. Okay, so the first book that I have to recommend is The Lady's Guard by Christy Caldwell. This is the third book in the Sinful Bride series. And this one follows Niall and Diana. Diana's in a bit of trouble. Her half-brother owns this gambling hall and she thinks that she's being followed and that some people have figured out that they're siblings, and so she's just not feeling safe. So she goes to her half-brother and is like, is there any protection you can help me with? And so he gets Niall, one of his business partners, to go and be her bodyguard. And he is at first like, this is ridiculous. I'm wasting my time protecting her. She's probably not even in trouble or anything like that. But then as soon as he figures out that the threat is real, he is so protective over her, and it's just so good. He's not only just protective of the danger, but he's protective of the way society sees her, because he doesn't like society, but he knows that she's part of it, so he has to really protect her image. So I don't normally read a ton of historical romances, but this one was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I just really loved Niall and his protective instincts, even though he is not the greatest at the beginning. Okay, and the next books that I want to talk to you about is the Insider Trilogy by Tijan. These follow, it follows the same couple throughout it, so you do need to read them in order. So I'm only going to talk about the first one, but just so you know, that he is protective throughout all of the books. So this follows Bailey and Cashton. Bailey just is the very beginning of this book. There's this kidnapping attempt on her, and that's when she finds out that she's actually the daughter of a very prominent businessman who made a lot of money from coding, and she's a secret daughter. Him and her mom had an affair when they were young. He was married to someone else, so she's been living in secret. Her mom never wanted her to have any part of that life, the rich society life, and so she's been protecting her. But as soon as there's this kidnapping attempt on her life, she's like, no, we need to get your father to help protect you. And that's when she meets Cashton, who is put on her as her bodyguard. You can't tell, a lot of these are bodyguards because I just personally really like bodyguard romances. But Cashton at first is trying to keep his distance because he has been basically a part of the family for a long time. He actually comes from his own sort of strained family background, which you find out more about as the series goes on. But he is so protective of her. There is an instant attraction between them, and they have to spend a lot of time together because he is her bodyguard. So there's the forced proximity element of that, as well as having to deal with the outside threat. This is a romantic suspense series, so you can imagine that there is a lot of outside threats that he has to protect her against, and it's so good. Cashton is top tier book boyfriend material. He is so good. Okay, and the next series is the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. All of the boys in this series are very protective over the women in their life. My personal favorite is Heartless, with Reckless being a very close second. There's actually a moment in Reckless where he says, you better watch what you say, how you speak to my child's mom, and it's so good. Ugh. And they're all just so protective over their women. It takes place in Calgary, Canada, and they're all cowboys, and I don't know, something about a cowboy lately has been really hitting. This series is super popular, so I've talked about this series a lot recently in my videos, so I don't want to go into too much depth about each one, but they are all very protective, and they are all very, very good books. I honestly loved every single one of them. And if you're looking for protective heroes, I look no further. There's a reason why these are super hyped up. They are so good, so steamy, so just like so good. The next book is Echoes of Scotland Street by Samantha Young. This is the 5th book in the On Dublin Street series, and there's actually a few that I think could fit into this trope, but I chose this one because, I don't know, it's one of my favorites. Actually, my favorite is Down London Road, which definitely also could fit into this trope because he is so protective of her. He's at first like very condescending and like really speaks down to her, but then as soon as he figures out her background, he's like her biggest defender and will not let anyone talk bad about her ever, and including herself. She's not allowed to talk bad about herself in front of him. He is just the ultimate protector. But I haven't really talked about Echoes of Scotland Street that much, and he is equally as protective. It's actually the little brother of the female main character in that book, in the Down London Road. So you can see that he was sort of raised a little bit by both of them, so you can see where the protective instincts come from. But this one follows Cole and Shannon, and Shannon's actually sort of a bit running away right now because she was in an abusive relationship, and she went to her brother one time after he had been really brutal with her, and her brother went and beat the crap out of this guy and actually got sent to jail because he put him into the hospital. Like, he did some serious damage to this guy, and so he had to go to jail, and her family is blaming her for the fact that her brother's in jail, even though he was defending her after he had just he had like been abusive to her. They think that it was her fault for staying with him for so long and stuff like that. So she's running away, and she finds a job at a tattoo parlor where Cole works. And Cole and Shannon actually met briefly when they were younger, and Cole's immediately like, oh my gosh, I remember you. I thought you were so beautiful, and he is immediately trying to like court her, but she's obviously not like in a good headspace right now to date. But once she like lets him in, lets the walls down, he is so protective of her against her family, and like, my favorite part about all these books is the found family aspect. Like, all of them have such like found family connections, so it's so good. He doesn't let her family bash her or anything, which of course, because it's not her fault. But anyways, he is very protective, and I love it. Okay, and the last book that I want to talk to you about is Beard Science by Penny Reed. This is the 3rd book in the Winston Brothers series, and my absolute favorite in this series, at least of the ones I've read so far. Basically, it follows Cletus and Jennifer, and Jennifer has been like this good girl her entire life. She's listened to what her parents have said to do. She like dyes her hair, she only wears dresses, like she does everything. Literally, her parents are so controlling over her life, and she wants some help figuring out how to date because her parents basically will not let her date unless it's a very specific kind of person. So she sort of blackmails Cletus into helping her practice how to date, and when he's helping her with that, he actually also helps her figure out how to stand up and choose things for herself. Like, it starts off small. He's like, paint your nails whatever color you want your nails painted, and so she does, and her parents freak out because she's wearing like a maroon darker nail polish, and she's like supposed to be like the banana queen, so she only ever is supposed to have like yellow hair and yellow nails and everything like that. So not only is Cletus like protective of like the guys that she's like sort of practiced dating with, he's also protective against her family and like how controlling they have been over her life, and he really helps her grow as a person. He's not just like trying to be controlling of her as well. He really wants her to be her own person, and he's such like her biggest defender in everything, and it's so cute. It's so good. And like he's in the previous two books, and I knew this was going to be my favorite book because I love Cletus in the first two books. So I recommend reading this series in order because you'll really get to love Cletus by the time you get to this book. But if you are to only pick up one book in this series, pick up this one because Cletus is just so cute, and I just love how much he wants Jennifer to have such a good life. That's like his biggest, like that's his number one goal, is that he wants Jennifer to be her own person and to stand up for herself. So so good. Okay, and those are all the books that I have today for protective heroes. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave me a comment down below and let me know who your favorite protective hero is, because I would love to read some more books like this. Subscribe if you're not already and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.